With the basketball world and the sports world in general still in shock from last night's deal, the mega trade involving Dallas and Los Angeles, the games must go on, and the Philadelphia 76ers are getting ready for Game 4 of their 6-game homestand as the most-hated, disliked, whatever one you want to use, Boston Celtics are in town. Jayson Tatum and crew are here to take on Tyrese Maxey, and we're here to start you off and get you ready and discuss it all on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app using code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. I guess it's no longer ordinary when something like that happens last night, and you get that happening with Dallas and Los Angeles. We'll get to that in a second. Joined with Rich Hoffman, I'm Devon Givens. Bree is producing. We'll have our Bet365 picks a little bit later. But, Rich, we got to start off with the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers coming together on Saturday night, early Sunday morning for a mega deal. Not a lot of names involved. When you get mega deal, a lot of it is 2, 3-team, 4-team trades with a bunch of names going in all these different places. Even when you have a name as big as Luka Doncic, others are in there with he and Anthony Davis. Those were the two central pieces. That was really it. Luka Doncic headed to Los Angeles as Derek and I got together for our kind of emergency pod 14 hours later of the deal. But your initial thoughts, man, of the deal itself, where you were, what you thought as it dropped, and all of it that went into, even now, hours later, of your idea of this huge deal that sends Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers.
It's unbelievable, man. I don't even know what to say. I have Shams on text alerts because I'm a sicko, and that's why you have them on text alerts, right? That's why you wade through the G League signings, the assistant GM promotions, through all of that stuff because Shams is tweeting about all types of NBA news. That's why you have them on text alerts, because when that hits my phone last night, my initial thought is that Shams Charania with one character off or somebody trying to fake. No, that's him. So my only thought was, oh man, Shams got hacked.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at that trade, and that trade is ridiculous. And that trade also, Devon, came out of absolute nowhere. So I had hung out with some family and friends on my Saturday night, and I was back. I was actually getting ready to go to bed. Watching a little bit of TV, and I look over at my phone, and I didn't go to bed right away, man, because people were tweeting what a night on Twitter. I think it was a little after midnight when the trade went down. I think in terms of excitement and the amount of NBA emergency pods, including yours, including DLS. I have a little trouble saying DLLS.
So do I. Too. That's why I slow down. If you ever know, I say DLLS.
Veteran move by
Thank
you. Yeah. Smart. Yes. Just to see all of the reactions, because everybody had a pod. It was a lot of fun today. But in the long run, that trade stinks, man. That trade stinks. I am sick of the Lakers getting get out of jail free cards and getting gifted these awesome players. Like I saw a great tweet today where it's like, for a normal NBA fan, it's like, I hope my favorite team can get Santi Aldama, but it's probably not realistic. And then if you're a Lakers fan, it's like, oh, sweet, we got Luka Doncic for like 20 cents on the dollar. It's crazy, man. And look, Anthony Davis is a very good player, but come on, man. Like it's just, he's much older. He's not the caliber of Luka in terms of raising a team in the playoffs and just running an entire offense. It's like, I'm sure the Mavericks are going to talk about Luka being out of shape and his work habits, and I'm sure he might have been a nightmare behind the scenes. Who cares? Like, who cares? He got you to the finals last year. Like, that's somebody that you wait for decades to get a player as good as Luka Doncic. They actually get him right on the heels of having that great Dirk career as well. So that's number one. But okay, let's say you're like, look, he's a nightmare behind the scenes. We think he's not actually going to age that well because he doesn't care about his body, and that's going to go south. To trade him to the Lakers without even canvassing the league without taking other offers, because Luka Doncic is one of the best 5 players in the entire league. And to just say, here, Lakers, you can have him. We want this guy, Anthony Davis, instead of just seeing what's the rest of the league going to do with this. Like, you could go to the Lakers, Devon, have that offer in place and tell the rest of the league, we are going to take this offer because we like Anthony Davis if you do not beat it in the next 24 to 48 hours. Man, there were 10 teams in the league, including probably the Sixers, who could have blown that thing out of the water. And I understand they want to compete now, and they think Anthony Davis can be a decent fit with Kyrie Irving. And Anthony Davis is a very good player now. I think Anthony Davis is like the 10th to 15th best player in the league. Nothing to sneeze at, but he's older, he's injury prone, and he's not the caliber of rise. Like, he does not elevate other people like Luka Doncic. He's a great defensive player in the playoffs. It really has nothing to do with AD. Just them going to the Lakers and not calling the Rockets, the Thunder, all of these teams that have picks from other teams too. Because part of the worry with Luka Doncic is, okay, you send that guy to another team, well, those picks aren't going to be any good because Luka's going to be on the team, and you know, he's young and he's going to be good for a long time. There are plenty of teams around the league that have great picks from other teams that you don't have to worry about. Kind of premium picks that they have already acquired. We know we're going to be bad. Devon, they would give you good young players too. It's not like it would stop with that. So to get one pick, like the Lakers have those 2 first-round picks available. How are you not even getting both of those? You think Rob Pelinka's gonna hang up the phone on you, and the sticking point is the 2031 first-round pick? Yeah. Man, he might hang up on you for 2 minutes. You wait by the phone, and then he calls you back and says, okay, that's fine. Come on. And then you see Nico Harrison today, and this is after your guys' reaction pod, saying, well, yeah, the Lakers kind of, or not the Lakers, our owner kind of laughed at the beginning when I suggested this trade. It's just insane to me. And so I enjoy a good shock trade in the NBA. There's nothing like it. Everybody reacting to it right away. It completely changes the landscape.
Throws it off.
It's kind of like PG and Kawhi Leonard a few years ago going to the Clippers. Just like a holy bleep moment that everybody wants to react to right away. But the further I get away from it, man, that trade stinks.
So Martian Lynch, great question, Martian Lynch. Did the Hawks win the Luka trade?
Maybe.
Maybe they did. And we'll see where it goes. Look, they got to the finals, so the Hawks have not. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals because of fluke Sixers season that year and the postseason as the #1 seed. But did they win? I mean, I would still lean Dallas, but man, that's a great question.
Dallas won that trade.
Yeah.
But they refused to keep winning that trade.
Yes.
They could have won that trade for another decade probably, and they said,
unbelievable.
We're good.
Unbelievable. And Nico Harrison and his comments today with Jason Kidd sitting right next to him. By the way, they said Jason Kidd knew nothing about it. Sometimes, of course, just being around for as long as you have around the NBA, some stuff all right, they're just saying that. You're not trying to put that guy in a tough spot overall. But it certainly doesn't make him feel like you did him any good by sitting him next to you saying, yeah, I left my head coach out of the conversation overall. He had to find out when everybody else did as we were getting ready to pull this trigger on this deal. That's not great. That's not great at all.
Agreed, man. It's not great. What are they doing?
I don't know. And
I am so sick of the Lakers getting bailed out like this.
That's true.
Their GM stinks. Their GM, all of his moves outside of getting Anthony Davis, who wanted to go there, and now getting Luka Doncic for reasons that are unknown. Like they're not that well run of a team. Like
he's not.
We like JJ. Obviously, like LeBron. I mean, LeBron. What a game last night against the Knicks. Like he still has that in him. You know, Max Christie, nice player who's going in that trade. Reeves is playing very well as kind of a third option, second option, whatever. They're not that well run. They don't deserve Luka Doncic. There are teams that would give Dallas such a haul, that have built up a haul to trade for the precise player that Luka Doncic is, right? There are, when we talk about, the trades with even lower level all-star players, right? Teams are going to haggle over those picks, right? They're like, I'm not sure he's worth all of those picks. No. Luka Doncic, even the most careful GMs, the Sam Presties, the guy in Houston, Rafael Stone, a bunch of other GMs, they're saying, we're trading everything. That's Luka Doncic. If you want to trade him, fine. We will compensate you and we will maybe even overpay for him.
Yep.
Right? Like Rudy Gobert, all those picks he got, Mikal, all those picks he got. What are they doing? They have Luka Doncic. They could get the picks and the players, man. Teams will do that because once you have Luka Doncic, that is a guy who completely elevates the rest of your team. And who cares if he's out of shape? I thought Ryan Russillo on the Bill Simmons podcast was so funny today. Yeah. He was like, he could have been ripping a cig, bringing the ball up and down the court. He's like, who cares?
It's Luka.
Who cares?
Right.
It's Luka Doncic. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Nah, unbelievable, man. Again, just shook up the world, the basketball world, shook up the sports world. All sports fans are talking about this one. Even the joke of, hey, say this to me. I'm an NFL guy, but explain this to me in NFL terms. All right, the joke is kind of corny. They know what it is. It's Luka Doncic, man. It's Luka freaking Doncic, and you don't trade him. And if you do, you get multiple players, if not multiple picks, pick swaps, all kinds of things in that deal. Just an unbelievable deal. Derek, as you listened to our conversation a little bit earlier, it's about 15 minutes. Derek talked about the Charles Barkley deal of being the last one that really just knocked him out, man. Just really knocked him out of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this one happened. And what's the last one for you? That they, even the ones that knew, but you didn't see this one coming because, as I said to Derek, the stealth mode of this one, to keep it as quiet as they did an unbelievable job of keeping this one under wraps for as long as they did, if they really did have this conversation starting early in January. They did a great job of keeping it quiet. What's the last big one for you that you were like, oh, man?
The only one that I can compare it to in terms of just being completely shocked, and I don't think this qualifies because Luka, we had no idea about this.
Yep.
But in the 2019 free agency, after the Toronto Raptors had won the championship, Kawhi Leonard was picking between three teams, going back to Toronto or playing for either of the two LA teams. And It seemed like the Lakers, for the last little bit, people thought he was just going to outright sign with the Lakers. The surprise thing that happened, and I will never forget this, I was up so late at night for some reason. It broke at like 2:53 a.m. I think I was like, I was doing some work, some summer league. I was getting ready to go to summer league the next night. The news comes out that Paul George gets traded for 1 million picks from the Clippers and a pretty good young player by the name of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was considered a throw-in in that trade. And that allowed the Clippers to not only trade for Paul George, but they also signed Kawhi Leonard in free agency. So that's how you kind of had to look at that. That was absolutely stunning to me. This was 10 times more stunning. I had no idea. Like, I just assumed Luka Doncic was going to play for the Mavs for the rest of his career.
And we brought him up the other day because of the conversation we were having about the Miami Heat and them looking at potential players down the line. And we brought up Luka just because of the fact that in 26, he's just part of the list.
He was up.
Not that he was leaving.
He was the guy.
It was just his name is there. We have to say his name because of the conversation we were having. But never did we think 3-4 days later that we would be talking about a mega deal headed to LA. And the mega deal is because, all right, he got traded, but he only got traded for an all-star player older than him and 1 first-round pick. Never did I think that would happen.
How are you, even if you're dead set on getting AD and you think, all right, this AD, Kyrie Irving, and you know, Dallas has some good other players too. You think that team is a defense wins championships type of team. I don't think that. I think they've taken a big step back. Even though AD in the playoffs is an awesome defensive player, even if you think that, how are you not getting that second round pick from LA? Like, you're giving them Luka Doncic.
Or how are you not forcing them? Give me Austin Reeves in the deal instead of Max Christie. I mean, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but
I heard something that the salary matching was a little difficult on that one. That Austin Reeves, it would have been hard to get that to work. Man, I'm with you. Like, you should have to basically forfeit your entire franchise,
especially when you have a third team involved. Utah is involved. Somehow you figure that out.
That's true. You can figure it out that way.
Yeah.
Man,
wow,
it's amazing. What an unbelievable 24 hours. But
5 days away, Rich.
Sixers are playing the Mavericks in a couple nights too.
On Tuesday, right? Yeah,
and that might be Anthony Davis's debut. The Mavs, so they played the Cavs today, and they didn't have any of the guys.
Smoked.
They were losing by 1 billion.
In the first quarter, they were down by like 20.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
So maybe we get Anthony Davis's. Oh, you know what though? He's been
He's
hurt.
still out.
Yeah,
he's still
he got hurt
out.
in the Sixers game.
That was his last Laker
game. Now I
game.
know that
Tuesday.
that it was considered kind of a day-to-day type thing. So maybe he would be back in time for that. It would be something if he got hurt in Philly playing for the Lakers, and then a week later he makes his debut wearing a jersey we never thought he would have worn.
He played 9 minutes in that game against the Sixers, and look at that. He comes back a week later to play for the Dallas Mavericks.
Look, I think it's awesome. I'm still going to listen to even more pods after we're done tonight. Like I am
no question.
I am so sick. I'm going to read everything I can about this trade. I'm going to watch that crazy Nico Harrison press conference outside of the clips that I've seen. But the more I step away from this, I'm like, why did the Lakers get this guy? I hate this.
That part sucks.
I hate this. It's like the Pau Gasol trade.
That was another one that we just didn't know.
Was so bad at the time. And everybody was like, wait, this is all you got? And it's funny, Pau got traded for Mark, and Mark ended up being a very good player. I mean, it was still a ridiculous deal because Pau gave them a championship. Like they should have had to give a lot more. But it is funny that Mark at the time was not considered a big prospect at all. He develops into a great center for a long time for Memphis. This is way worse, man. This is absurd. Ridiculous. I am so sick of the Lakers.
By the way, when Derek asked on our pod, if you missed it, go check it out in our video section, 16-minute video. Derek, myself, Bree was with us as well, where we talked about this, broke it down, get our instant reaction. That's why we wanted to start off and get Rich's initial thoughts. Derek had asked, when was the last time a guy like this? And it's different because this guy is totally different. As you said, it's 10 times worse when you thought about the Kawhi thing. The only other one after we got finished recording, all three of us, I did not know Blake Griffin was going to get traded from the Clippers to the Pistons. I had no clue.
That was
he had just signed that extension.
Yeah.
That was stunning. So stunning that when he left, he didn't speak to them. He didn't answer any calls. When he came back, he ran right by the owner, and Steve Ballmer went to the lot.
Because they made the presentation, Clipper for life.
Yes.
To get him to sign that contract.
That was the last one that I could think of, and I said that to him after. I texted Derek that one after the fact. That was a stunner. Whatever you believed about his knees and if he was good enough and all that, he did make the All-Star team with the Pistons when he got there. But I did not see that one coming. So that's the last one I could really say I had no clue.
And this one's crazier, though, because Blake was, top 10,
his knees were
a top 10, 15 player. He did have an awesome season in Detroit, dragging them to the number 8 seed. Unfortunately, his knees were done by the end of it, but he completely reinvented his game. Like he torched the Sixers a couple times that year, just making threes and just like
that pick and pop mid-range.
Yeah. And it was actually really cool to see because, he was the guy who was just the dunker when he came into the league, and he's like, he's winning with his brain now. And that was really cool to see. Luka obviously is the magnitude of how much better he is than Blake at that point is the big difference here. I don't think this has ever happened, man. I don't think there's ever been a time when a top 5 player in the league, and I'm probably being conservative there, he's probably like the second or third best player in the league when you factor in what a playoff killer that guy has been and just how easy he makes it. You just roll the ball out, run some pick and roll with him, and that's fine. He might be a little chunky. He might be complaining to the refs too much.
Smoke the cig, running up this court like Ryan Russillo said.
Yeah, whatever, man. He's still going to give you 30 and 10 and get all the corner threes in the world for his teammates and all the lobs for Gafford and
Derek Lively.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
How do you not get a center either?
It's crazy.
Hey, all those guys, you have 2 other centers on the roster. Send one of them. Maybe their salary matches going to LA instead, but I don't know.
So Martian brings up, did any of you know Tobias was going to get traded? And okay.
His name was out there because in the offseason, he had turned down that extension for $80 million. If you remember, he thought he was a $100 million player. Jerry West, great general manager, executive that he was.
Speaking of smoking six.
Said take 4 for 80 or, go into the offseason and find out what you're worth. And that's why it wasn't a surprise that was going to happen.
Well,
it was more of a surprise that it happened here.
Yeah, exactly. There was nothing. I mean, the Sixers were linked a little bit to him, but there was no lead up that
especially
week.
After Jimmy.
Yeah, there was no lead up that week. And I remember Sixers played a really poor game against Toronto that was like, this team, they kind of just got their butts kicked by Toronto. I don't know if they actually have the juice to hang with a team like that
Yeah.
in the postseason. As it turned out, they did have the juice. They were very close to beating that team. But late that night, Elton swings that trade because Elton was the GM at that time for Tobias. So that, Martian, I agree with you. That was it was certainly a surprise for sure. Not on this level, but certainly a surprise.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right. That's a lot of conversation. 20 minutes of Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis conversation.
Let's talk about the game.
And worthy of it. But we do have a game tonight here in Philadelphia, 6 o'clock start time. The Sixers hosting the Boston Celtics. Sixers sitting at after their 4-game winning streak was snapped by the Nuggets on Friday. 3-point loss, 137-134. Sixers now 19-28. The Celtics come to town 34-15. The Sixers beat them, if you remember, in their last matchup. Christmas miracle. They beat them where everyone was available in that game. So a different look tonight. A different look tonight for this team overall. But, Rich, yeah, the Celtics in town at 34-15. Seemingly, it looks like they have all their guys readily available for them tonight against the 76ers. So this is going to be a tough one for sure for the hometown team and hosting this group here. So just your initial thoughts of what this one might look like tonight. We've seen that they've played above their head, above their level. The Sixers have over this last week and a half, winning the 4 in a row, playing again as well as they did against the Nuggets, where they probably should have won that game if they executed things a little bit differently down the stretch.
They put themselves in position.
Absolutely. In this one, though, another tough challenge. They have handled themselves well. They have. This is another tough challenge right away for them after that tough game against the Nuggets on Friday.
Would have been really good to get that Nuggets game.
Yeah,
because then you could have said, okay, this one's gravy. It's going to be hard to I think bounce back from the emotional letdown because they really did play so well offensively in that game.
Had that one.
But some tough plays down the stretch. Joker was awesome offensively down the stretch. Terrible defensively the whole game, as we talked about in detail the other night. But really, like, another very good effort, put themselves in position to win 50-50 game. And, when they have Nikola Jokic and you don't have really anybody except Tyrese, who did a great job, they lost. So it will be tough for them to bounce back. The Sixers are so shorthanded, man. They don't even have the Boston Strangler for this game either,
They do not, no.
That's one of my favorite running bits, that Caleb Martin, no matter what uniform he's wearing, he sees that green, he is just ready to go, making threes, playing confident. Would have been really nice to get him back. It seemed like he was pretty close to a game time decision. Whatever is dealing with the hip right now is still keeping him out. Yeah, look, man, they're extremely shorthanded because they don't even have Eric Gordon tonight. And Eric Gordon has been terrific. He's been terrific shooting the ball.
Yeah.
So Ricky gets the start tonight. We'll see. I don't feel great about this one, but hey, we didn't feel great about the game the other night as well, and they submitted a wonderfully watchable performance. Very fun 2.5 hours of basketball. Let's see if we can get another one. I think it is going to be a tough one, though, for sure.
Yep. Boston comes in winners of their last two games they have won. They took down the Chicago Bulls, beat them by 22. 2-point win over the Pelicans in New Orleans. So they come into this one, again, riding a 2-game winning streak and just simply trying to see where they go from here for the Boston Celtics. Always a tough matchup. Kristaps Porzingis is playing. He's doing pretty well with that group of Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Derek White. The bench unit led by Peyton Pritchard, and the guys that they bring in, Luke Cornett, of course, Sam Hauser, knocking down outside shots in general. This team, as we know who the Boston Celtics are. They are 19 games over 500, but they're still that good, and the Sixers are going to be really in for it tonight against this one with no Eric Gordon, no Caleb Martin in this one. They're going to have to, again, try to level up against a team that, quite frankly, they probably have no business being close to as the game plays itself out here tonight in South Philly. But stranger things have happened where they've beaten the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Los Angeles Lakers.
They've done great. Awesome job.
Played a game where they probably, again, as Rich called it, a 50-50 game. They should have won that game on Friday, knowing that they have been playing again up with their head above water, squeezing these games out, getting, draining that rag, man, squeezing that washcloth and all the water just simply coming out of it. And you're getting every bit of drop of effort that they have. tonight's going to be tough. So as much as we discuss these games and we say, you know what, this will be a close one. They'll probably play competitive, stay. This one I can see this one getting out of hand a little bit at some point.
I could. The one thing I will say is Boston has not been great over the past couple months. They've had some letdown losses. Even the other night, I mean, they play in New Orleans and Tatum has to make the game-winning shot at the end, even after DeJounte gets hurt, and that looked like a pretty bad injury for him. Poor guy. Poor Pelicans fans too. I mean, that team has been,
he's done for the season.
That team has just been injury riddled all year. They haven't been great recently,
They have not.
And this is what happens sometimes with maybe a championship hangover. And I'm not saying that it will extend to them until the playoffs. Like, I think they certainly have earned the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they'll be able to flip the switch. Let's hope they aren't, because I hate the Boston Celtics.
Same.
But right now they are a little bit sleepwalking through the season, I would say, coasting a little bit on their talent. So, I think this is going to be a tough one tonight. But I would say over the past month and a half, they have not played very inspiring basketball either.
No, they haven't. And I would like to say that based on what we've seen from the Sixers as of late, that they will give them an opportunity to win this one. This one is a tough one, man. After that emotional loss that they did have, this one is really, really difficult. And I just look at this matchup and I say, yeah, this one might not be their night. Yeah, they had to get that one the other night, because this was one that, all right, you win the other one, as you said, especially without Martin and Gordon. All right, I guess this was an L. This is an L. You come away with a 4-2 record after starting off 3-0 at home along the 6-game road trip. Now I'm looking at this one as probably, all right, 3-3 at best, man. Maybe 3-3 at best, just because.
Well, let's see if they can get those two in the middle of the week.
Sure,
too. Those are much more
Tuesday, Wednesday,
much more winnable games. I mean, the other thing, Devon, is, as you kind of alluded to, this is the second straight game where they're facing a full strength opponent, and they are extremely shorthanded, man. They're down 6 rotation players right now, including their best player and one of their 2 All-Stars. Now, I will say, the one thing I will say, because I think we are being a little not doom and gloom, but we're realistic about this one.
Yeah.
I would say the one thing I will say, Tyrese Maxey has made this so much fun over the past few weeks, and this is going to be a very tough matchup, because obviously Derek White, Drew Holiday, these are guys that have given him some trouble in the past. Not that much on Christmas. Nice job by Tyrese in that one, but he's just put a smile on my face every night watching this team, making them more competitive, even in the losses. I am enjoying what he's doing. It's going to be hard. He doesn't have EG. EG was really helping with those long-range bombs, opening up driving lanes for Tyrese, giving him easier outlets. Well, let's see if he can do it, and I'm excited to watch him.
Jeannie says we can do it, and Winona brought up how they played on Christmas when they defeated him.
Well, those two are always optimistic.
I got you. I'm not. We're not saying that they haven't been. It's just when we talk, like you mentioned the other day with the scheduled loss that they wind up winning.
Yeah.
This one is probably the scheduled loss where they had an opportunity to steal one once again over Denver on Friday night. So, hey, not trying to steal your optimism, just looking at it, analyzing the game for what it is. And we'll see how the Sixers play it out, because, as you mentioned, Tyrese Maxey has made these games so much more watchable, to go along with Guerschon Yabusele, how he has played, elevating his game. But Eric Gordon and that ability to stretch the defense away. They have to guard him even 25 feet away from the basket. That pulls a defender away. They're going to dare Ricky to shoot from 25, 27 feet from the basket. And we'll see how Nick Nurse has done a great job. He and the coaching staff. So we'll see if they can put together another pretty good game plan tonight against the Celtics.
The one thing I will say, the last thing on this game, Devon, because the Sixers have been very consistent in how they've tried to attack teams, where they've tried to force turnovers, right? They're helping in. They're giving up some open threes. The Boston Celtics love to bomb threes. They shoot more threes than anybody in the league.
All of them.
So, hey, maybe it's a variance game. Maybe it's one where you lose by 30 if they're on fire, but if they're not on fire, it's close and you have a chance to beat them. They are a tough team to force turnovers against a little bit, though, because their spacing is very pristine. But as Jeannie says, you have Justin, you have Ricky, you have Kelly, Tyrese. You got a fast team out there tonight. Get Bona in the game, right? He's pretty fast. Yabu,
little Pete.
Yeah.
You Pete in there. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's get to our quick super chat that we do have here. No, first let's go to, I'm sorry, Bree, you want to go to the super chat? All right, let's go to the super chat. Davon says, call the CBA was going to ruin teams. $350 million is the root. I mean, look, that's what he was going to get, right? With the extension.
Supermax, 345, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
What's an extra $5 million?
Especially for him.
Yeah.
You know, you give it to him.
He lost a lot of money in this trade.
He did.
State tax,
and then
state tax
LA.
plus the amount of money he could get to. So Luka did lose a lot of money. The one thing I would say, Davon, is he's the type of guy that you just give that to, and you don't even blink
Don't worry
twice.
about it.
Yeah,
No,
I agree with you when there's somebody like De'Aaron Fox or other players who can
Bradley Beal,
who can sneak into Supermax contention and being eligible to get the Supermax when they're really like kind of fringe all-stars and they sneak on with a third-team All-NBA berth. Luka's not that. Luka is a perennial first-team All-NBA guy. I don't know.
This will then bring up the Joel Embiid conversation of Supermax and should they have done it and all that stuff. Yeah, but let's get to Bernard McCoy. Hit a super chat. I hope the Sixers stop these unnecessary double teams and just let one player go off for 50 because against really good teams, you get killed from three. You mentioned Boston just firing up as many threes as they do. Yeah, but this team is good. Even if you get Brown or Tatum going for 50, they can still handily beat you.
The double teams hurt them the other night with Jokic. He got a lot of really easy buckets off them, but that's part of the way they want to play, man. They want to force turnovers because they know in the half court, if Tyrese really isn't orchestrating it, they don't have a lot against the set defense. So they want to get some of these young guys out in transition and muck the game up. I agree. Like, I think their doubling hurt them the other night, but on the other hand, like against somebody like Jokic, if you didn't double him, he was just going to score every single trip.
Pick you apart.
So,
yep. All right. Thanks, Bernard. Thank you, Davon, for the super chats. Our starters tonight for the Sixers, Guerschon Yabusele, along with Justin Edwards and Ricky Council in the starting lineup because of the absence of Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre, and Tyrese Maxey round out the starting lineup. So yet another starting five for Nick Nurse tonight. We'll see how they play it out. Our Bet365 picks. Let's get to our pick segment brought to you by Bet365, the same game parlay for me. I am going with Kelly Oubre, 6.5 rebounds over. Going to need some help on the glass tonight with all those guys on the other side. With 20 points from Jayson Tatum, 20-plus points for Jayson Tatum. That is a plus 120 same game parlay for me. Rich, you went back to the well with Tyrese Maxey.
Different type of game, though, because it's hard to predict what type of offensive game. I don't know what the Celtics are going to do. Maybe they trap him and it's a big assist game.
Yeah.
Maybe they leave him one-on-one and he's bombing threes and he's scoring points. I don't know exactly what we're going to get, but I do know what we're going to get defensively, and that's Boston shooting a bunch of threes, and particularly their big guys, right? Porzingis, Horford. They're going to step out and drag out the Yabuseles and the Bonas of the world. So for the Sixers to get rebounds, they're going to have to gang rebound. They're going to be balls bouncing all over the place, long rebounds from threes. I think Tyrese gets over. I also liked Kelly. I was going to go to Kelly before with the rebounds because I think it's much the same idea.
I'd imagine Ricky will probably get about 4 himself, getting in there, as we know, sticking his nose in there and going for those boards.
Had some great rebounds this week, Rick.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So same game parlay, Kelly Oubre over 6.5 boards, Jayson Tatum 20-plus points. And for Rich, he went with Tyrese Maxey helping out on the glass tonight, 5+ rebounds. Those are our pregame picks brought to you by Bet365 in our pregame picks segment. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so almost game time. We want to let everybody get their last-minute snacks. Whatever you're doing, cooking up a quick meal to get ready for a game. There's no football. Only basketball tonight. Football's next week. We'll get into that a little bit later in the week. You got some hoops coming up. We'll be back for the post-game show with Bree, Rich, myself, the guys from the arena. Everybody enjoy the game. We'll talk to you afterwards. Can the Sixers steal another one? As shorthanded as they are, we'll discuss it post-game right here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show presented by Bet365. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
We all silly like the mayor.